Gun fam, what's up? It's the Gun Brother. Thank you for tuning in. Today, as requested, we are going to go all the way through everything that I can think of to answer most of your questions about getting an AR-15 in Maryland. But the bottom line to the answer, can I have an AR-15 in Maryland, is yes. The Maryland Firearm Safety Act of 2013 is what is in question and explains whether or not you can get an AR-15 in Maryland. And last week, as the time of this recording, last week that bill, actually the bill was challenged a while ago, but the ruling just came down last week where the Firearms Policy Coalition, FPC, had challenged the rule or challenged the whole act, basically saying that it was unconstitutional, that the assault weapons ban was unconstitutional. They were unsuccessful, and so a lot of people saw the headline and didn't really understand what was going on. Was there an assault weapons ban or not? Did they need to turn their AR-15s in and things like that? So the answer to that is no. This act has been in place since October 1st, 2013, so we're still going by the same rules of what you can and cannot have. So that's what so that's number one. Just want to get that out of the way, that nothing's changed. But the rules are still can be foggy. And so I'm just going to go over them all, point them all out to you, show you where you can also find the information, give you a little history of where it came from as well. Like I said, the bottom line to the question is yes, you can have an AR-15 in Maryland, but as of 2013, there are a couple of rules that got put in place. Number one is that it has to be heavy barrel. So that's one stipulation. Then number two is, does it meet the features test? So I'm gonna give you the information for both of those so you can understand that. And like I said, then show you some places where you can find information on which guns you can and cannot have. However, sometimes that information is not correct. First language that I could find about heavy barrel goes all the way back actually to 1996, which was the Maryland Gun Violence Act, which is Senate Bill 215. And where we start to get into definition. So definition of an assault weapon means any of the following specific firearms or their copies, regardless of which company produced it and manufactured that item. So they name very specific companies, AK-47 in all forms as a rifle, and a couple of other brands, stuff like that. But the one that's the most important to the modern day definition now is this one. This line here where it says Colt AR-15, the CAR-15, and all imitations except the Colt AR-15 Sporter H-bar rifle. H-bar meaning heavy barrel. So that's the first language I could find that separated a heavy barrel from the rest of the AR-15. So if it has a heavy barrel, it was separated actually as far back as 1996. Now let's fast forward to 2013. And we have a couple of different lines for it. So assault long gun means any assault weapon listed under 5101 or 5-101 of the public safety article, which is technically a separate document. So we have to go to that. Here's that document. So this is Title 5-101, 2013. A regulated firearm always is going to be a handgun for the most part. And then any firearm that is one of the following specific assault weapons or their copies, regardless of which company produced and manufactured that assault weapon. So again, the list is, I'm pretty sure it's pretty much copy and pasted. I didn't read it line for line, but again, we have that key line here that says Colt AR-15, CAR-15, and all imitations except the Colt AR-15 Sporter H-bar rifle or heavy barrel. So that's where the heavy barrel consideration is, okay? And that list goes on with the rest of these. And like I said, I'll link all of this stuff so you can look at it yourself, okay? Going back to Safety Act of 2013, then we start talking about assault pistols, and that means any of the following firearms or a copy, regardless of who produced it, same language, and then they name some very specific semi-automatic pistols, okay? I don't know if y'all remember the Tech 9 from back in the day, Mac 10, Mac 11, stuff like that. Now, getting down to assault weapons, an assault long gun, an assault pistol, or copycat weapon. Copycat meaning, and these are the factors of your features test. And we'll see this again when I take you over to the other site. It'll be a little bit clearer because of all this redacting and stuff like that. But it cannot have any two of the following features. a folding stock, and this is on a rifle. I'm not talking about pistols, this is on a rifle. Folding stock, so it can be telescoping or extending, not the same thing. A grenade launcher or flare launcher, a flash suppressor. Can't have two of those, okay? It cannot have the ability to accept more than 10 rounds if the magazine is fixed. And then finally, it cannot have an overall length of less than 29 inches. And that measurement is with the stock fully extended all the way to the end of the barrel without any removable parts. So if you have anything attached to the barrel, it is not included in the measurement of overall length unless that part cannot be removed. So you may have seen where if you go to buy a firearm and it says that the flash hider is pinned and welded, then it can be included in the measurement because it is not removable. So less than the overall length of 29 inches, then we start getting into SBRs, short barrel rifles, NFA tax stamps, all of that stuff that we went through. Whole nother rabbit hole, not going that way. So that's your features test. Now let's go over to the site where you can kind of find some information on this. Maryland State Police Firearm Search, you can kind of find some information on some of this here. And I say kind of because sometimes it's incorrect, sometimes it's outdated, and it just is what it is. So you really have to go almost on a case-by-case basis. But again, I'll put the link in the description so that you can go to it for yourself. Now, here's the list of questions that you can ask. So they say clearly, if you're considering the purchase of a firearm and you're unsure if it's banned or not, contact Maryland regulated firearms dealer you're utilizing for your purchase. Regulated firearms dealer, they say they're best suited to answer the questions. How are they better suited than, let's not. All right, so here are the questions that you can ask. Is this weapon semi-automatic? If it's not banned. Is this rifle a centerfire rifle? If it's not banned. And that has to do with how the ammo is made. Is this weapon considered to be a copy of a banned weapon? If so, then it's banned and may not be purchased, sold, or transferred. And usually the factors that make just a general statement for the factors that makes a copycat weapon or a copy of a banned weapon is if the parts from that banned firearm can drop directly into the other firearm, essentially making it the same firearm. That's a rudimentary definition of copycat or a copy of a banned weapon, okay? If this is a semi-automatic centerfire rifle that can accept a detachable magazine, doesn't have any of the two features, so that's what we were talking about earlier. It can't have a folding stock, grenade launcher, or flare launcher, or a flash suppressor. If it has two of those and it can accept a detachable magazine, it's banned, okay? If it's a semi-automatic centerfire rifle and has a fixed magazine that can take more than 10 rounds, it's banned. It's a semi-automatic centerfire rifle and the overall length of the weapon is less than 29 inches, excluding anything that can remove, is banned. And is this a semi-automatic shotgun with a revolving cylinder, is banned. And like I said, and then if it has a folding stock, I don't want to get into the shotgun stuff, just trying to stay AR specific, but if it has a folding stock, it's also banned, okay, as a shotgun. All right, so now, if you scroll further down on that page, you have reviewed firearms and they let you know whether they're banned or not. So it's easy enough to use, and I just wanted to point some stuff out. So we scroll down, so you see the brands are right here. You just click on it and it'll open up. And so here's one of the examples that I think this is going to be a problem. And if I'm misspeaking, guys, correct me, but I'm pretty sure this is pretty accurate. So this is dated 9/23/2015. The Barrett Rec 7 is not banned, okay? The Barrett Rec 7 back then was a piston-driven AR-15. Barrett has recently reintroduced the Rec 7 as a direct impingement AR-15. The reason the Rec 7 back then wasn't banned, again, correct me if I'm wrong, those parts cannot drop into a DI or direct impingement AR-15. So it wasn't a copycat weapon. It wasn't a copy of an enumerated weapon. So that is why the Rec 7 was legal back then. If you go and try to buy a direct impingement Rec 7, one of the new ones that has been reintroduced in 24, fairly certain it's not going to be legal in Maryland after 2013. It's not going to work. But if you were to find one of the old piston-driven models, it would be. So that's an example of what I was saying, that some of the information is not updated. Some guns may not have been reviewed yet, or things like that. Scrolling down, here's another one. Like I said, you click it, boom, click it, it'll open right up, okay? Daniel Defense, this happened to me a few years ago. I went to go buy a Daniel Defense V7 Pro, and because I saw this, it said Daniel Defense V7 Pro is not banned because it doesn't meet the definition of a copycat, the heavy barrel version. When I went to Daniel Defense's site, back then, same information, okay, it says Daniel Defense's proprietary heavy barrel. So one of the, I guess, litmus tests or the qualifiers for a heavy barrel rifle, the heavy barrel issue is that there's nothing in writing that says what a heavy barrel is from Maryland. They, in so many unwritten, written, unsaid, unspoken, spoken words, have basically said, if the manufacturer lists it as heavy barrel and advertises and says it's heavy barrel, it's heavy barrel. So I went to buy this firearm. Daniel Defense would not send it to me. Through email correspondence, I was like, hey, this is on our list, it says it. He said they let me know. Previously, they did make a heavy barrel version. They made a small limited run, Maryland approved it, and then they switched their literature, I guess, or they switched the design of the barrel, and they called it Daniel Defense's proprietary heavy barrel, S2W, which I believe is strength to weight. And the Maryland DOJ said, no, it's not in compliance with Maryland's heavy barrel. So I could not buy this firearm, and it's a different firearm for what Maryland has listed on its site. If I could find one of the old heavy barrels that they produced, then I'd be fine. And they said they have no intention of rerunning that particular barrel, that this was their heavy barrel. And Maryland says no. Then along with the manufacturer saying it was heavy barrel, the barrel should be stamped heavy barrel as well. I do have a couple of bills that I bought lowers post 2013 and bought barrels, and it's stamped on the barrel that is heavy barrel. So that's about as concrete as I can tell you about heavy barrels. It has to be, either manufacturer has to say it, barrel should be stamped heavy barrel, and that's it. There are no measurements published. There's nothing that says anything about whether a barrel is heavy or not, and that's as much as I can touch it. Pause. Conversely, another factor that's kind of cool, I guess. It is what it is. So I went to Springfield Armory. I was looking up their stuff. I was looking up the Saint just to see, and it's ban. I don't know if they have a heavy barrel version of the Saint or not. But then I saw that the Hellion was not banned. And I was like, wonder why. They said it does not meet the definition of a copycat weapon or copy of an enumerated weapon. So let's go look at the Hellion, and that is essentially because it is a bullpup design. You cannot drop these parts into an AR15 and make it into the same weapon. However, this is chambered in 223.556, just a different design. So the whole law has its pros and cons. You can there's stuff we can have, stuff that we can't have, and that's all I can say. So that's basically it as far as purchasing AR-15s in Maryland. Again, they have to be heavy barrel, and or they have to pass the features test, and that's the easiest way to figure it out. The rules apply also to, let's say, out of state. If you're out of state and you want to move to Maryland, so in other words, if you move here and you have AR-15s that you purchased after October 1st, 2013, they have to pass the features test, or if they're on the ban list, you're not going to be able to bring them to the state. If you purchased the firearm before October 1st, 2013, you can bring it. So if you bought it before then, it's going to be allowed. Just like us, if I've got several that I purchased before 2013, so I was allowed to keep them. Anything that I purchased after, and that includes builds for you guys that like to build. Any lowers that I purchased afterwards, or anything that I purchased afterwards, had to be built according to the features test. So that's another question that I get asked a lot. So guys, I hope that clears up a lot of some of the fogginess, at least. for purchasing the AR-15 in Maryland. I'll put links to all the information in the description below, so if you want to research it or refer to it, you are able to. And these are the types of fights that go to court and get kicked up and down between circuits and SCOTUS. So this is where I tell you should find an organization to support, donate to. Firearms Policy Coalition is the one that bought the fight for the fight against the 2013 Maryland Firearms Safety Act as being unconstitutional, because it got struck down again, or the appeal will most likely go to the Supreme Court. And those battles ain't cheap, okay? Maryland Shall Issue is a local organization that does the same thing, brings the same types of cases to court. And like I said, that stuff just isn't cheap, but they're fighting for us. So do your own research on that. Look up, firearms groups that support two-way rights for citizens and contribute. I highly recommend that. And with that being said, the Gun Brother is out. I will talk to you guys soon.